Imagine this. A couple in their early 30s. They've been saving for years. They finally have enough for a down payment. They find the house. It checks every box. Good neighborhood, good schools, right size. They fall in love with it on the first walkthrough. They make an offer that same afternoon. It gets accepted. They cry happy tears in the parking lot. And then, 6 months after moving in, they discover the basement floods every time it rains. The electrical panel is from 1974, and a licensed electrician tells them it's a fire hazard. The roof has maybe 2 years left on it. Total repair cost, around $40,000. Money they don't have. Money nobody warned them to save. The price they paid for the house. That was actually fair. The neighborhood? Great. The school district? Exactly what they wanted. The mistake wasn't the price. The mistake happened long before they ever made an offer. And it's the same mistake that hundreds of thousands of first-time buyers make every single year in America. So what was it? They skipped the process of truly understanding what they were buying. They got emotionally attached before they got informed. And in real estate, that combination is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Let's talk about how this actually happens, because it doesn't feel like a mistake when you're in it. It feels like excitement. When you're a first-time buyer, everything moves fast. You've been pre-approved by a lender. Your agent is sending you listings. You walk into an open house on a Sunday afternoon, and something just clicks. The kitchen has the right countertops. The backyard is exactly what you pictured. The neighbors wave hello from their driveway. And your agent, who is very good at their job, says something like, "This one won't last long. I've already heard there are 2 other offers coming in this week." And just like that, a decision that should take weeks gets compressed into hours. You stop asking questions. You start imagining your furniture in the living room. You are no longer a buyer doing due diligence. You are a person trying not to lose the house you've already decided is yours. This is what real estate professionals call emotional buying. And it is, without question, the #1 mistake first-time buyers make in America. Here's why it's so dangerous. When you get emotionally attached to a home before you fully understand it, you start making decisions that protect your feelings instead of protecting your money. You agree to waive the inspection contingency because your agent tells you the seller wants a clean offer. You overlook the water stains on the ceiling because the staging looks so beautiful. You convince yourself that the cracked foundation wall is probably nothing. You don't ask about the HOA rules until after closing, when you find out you can't park a second car in the driveway. None of these things are about price. All of them are about letting emotion lead before information does. Now here's the part that makes this even harder to avoid. The entire buying process in America is designed, sometimes intentionally, sometimes just structurally, to accelerate your emotional commitment. Think about it. Zillow and Redfin show you beautiful photos, wide-angle lenses, golden hour lighting. Open houses are staged to smell like fresh cookies and feel like model homes. Agents are trained to create urgency. Lenders celebrate your pre-approval like it's already done. Everyone around you is excited, and that excitement is contagious. Nobody in that process is paid to slow you down. Nobody is incentivized to say, "Hold on. Let's think about this for a week." So you have to be that person yourself. The buyers who come out of this process in the best position are almost always the ones who made a commitment to themselves before they ever walked into a house. They decided in advance that no matter how much they loved a property, they would never skip the home inspection. They decided in advance that they would read the seller's disclosure statement carefully, every single page, before making an offer. They decided in advance that if a deal required them to rush, they would treat that rush itself as a red flag. Let's talk about the home inspection specifically, because this is where most of the real damage happens. In a competitive market, sellers and agents often push buyers to waive the inspection contingency. They frame it as making your offer stronger. And technically, it does make your offer more attractive to a seller. But what you are actually doing is agreeing to buy a property without knowing what's inside the walls, under the floors, or on the roof. You are agreeing to inherit every problem that exists, visible or hidden, with no legal recourse after closing. A good home inspection in America costs somewhere between $300 and $600, depending on the size of the property and the city. That is one of the cheapest insurance policies you will ever buy. A professional inspector is going to spend 3 to 4 hours examining things you don't even know to look at: the HVAC system, the water heater, the electrical panel, the plumbing, the attic insulation, the crawl space, the foundation, the drainage around the house. They will give you a detailed report, usually 60 to 100 pages long, that tells you exactly what condition the home is in. And here's the thing most people don't realize: a home inspection doesn't just protect you from disasters. It gives you negotiating power. If the inspector finds that the roof has 3 years of life left, that's something you can bring back to the seller. You can ask for a price reduction. You can ask them to fix it before closing. You can ask for a credit at closing to cover the cost. Or, with all that information in hand, you can simply walk away, and that's okay too. That's not failure. That's the inspection contingency doing exactly what it was designed to do. The other document that first-time buyers consistently underread is the seller's disclosure statement. Every state in America requires sellers to fill out a disclosure form where they legally have to reveal known issues with the property: past flooding, mold, structural problems, neighborhood nuisances, disputes with neighbors, anything material that could affect the value or desirability of the home. Sellers are not required to find problems they don't know about, but they are required to disclose problems they do know about. Read this document. Read all of it. Ask your agent to explain anything that seems vague. If a seller checks "no" on the flooding question, but the basement smells like mildew and there are water stains on the lower wall, that's a contradiction worth investigating before you sign anything. There's one more thing that doesn't get talked about enough, and it's the difference between the life you imagine in a house and the life you will actually live there. First-time buyers often fall in love with a version of themselves in the house. The dinner parties in that kitchen, the mornings on that back deck, the life that somehow feels more complete once they own this specific property. That vision is powerful, and it can make you blind to things that matter. Like the commute. A house that's 25 minutes from your office on a Sunday afternoon might be 55 minutes on a Tuesday morning. Like the school ratings, they change, and the best one to look at is usually not the number on Zillow, but the recent trend. Like the neighborhood itself at different times of day. A street that's quiet at 11 a.m. during an open house might be a different experience on a Friday night when the bar 2 blocks away lets out. Go back to a house you love at different times. Walk the neighborhood at night. Drive the commute during rush hour. Talk to the neighbors if you can, not just a wave, but an actual conversation. Ask them what they like about living there. Ask them what they wish someone had told them. The couple I told you about at the beginning, they still live in that house. They love their neighborhood. They love their kids' school. But they spent 3 years financially recovering from costs that a $400 inspection would have caught. They don't regret buying the house. They regret the shortcuts they took because they were afraid of losing it. The good news is that this mistake is entirely avoidable. Slow down when everyone around you is telling you to speed up. Read the documents you're signing. Pay for the inspection. Drive the commute. Walk the street at night. Ask the questions that feel awkward. The house of your dreams is only a dream if you understand what you're actually buying. That's the biggest mistake first-time buyers make. And now you know how to avoid it.